Assange NZ for doing great work organising these events. This is Julian Assange's second birthday since he was illegally dragged out of the Ecuadorian embassy in London by British police. And it's the 9th year that he has spent in near isolation since he took refuge inside the Ecuadorian embassy to avoid rendition to the United States. It's hard to think of another individual who has been the target of so much relentless, vicious character assassination and attempts to break him physically and psychologically. The Trump administration continues to persecute the courageous founder of WikiLeaks with the total bipartisan support of the Democratic Party because he revealed US war crimes in Iraq and Afghanistan, the illegal spying methods of the CIA, and the anti-democratic activities of the United States throughout the world. Last month, a group of 200 doctors signed an open letter published in the Lancet journal, once again denouncing the treatment of Assange as torture sanctioned by the British government. Assange is extremely unwell due to being kept, as I said, in isolation most of the time. He has a respiratory condition and he's at heightened risk of coronavirus, which the UK government has allowed to run rampant throughout the country, including in the prison system. Doctors for Assange denounced the UK, Australia and United States governments for all collaborating in the attempt to railroad Assange into a US prison for the rest of his life. This is a politically motivated show trial that's going on right now. It is an attempt to abolish the right of any journalist to publish true information about the illegal activities of governments and their military and intelligence agencies. As we warned on the World Socialist Web Site, this campaign is about much more than one person. It's about freedom of speech and freedom of the press everywhere in the world. The persecution of Assange is a milestone in the growing lawlessness of the US government and all of its allies, and it sets a precedent for ever more violent and unrestrained attacks on journalists. The Doctors for Assange group drew attention to the attacks on journalists in the midst of the protests against police violence in the United States, where reporters, hundreds of reporters, have been physically attacked or wrongfully arrested by police and who are clearly emboldened by Donald Trump's ravings against the media on a near daily basis. An Australian TV reporter, Amelia Brace, recently told a congressional hearing just a few days ago that she and her cameraman were shot and beaten up during a protest in Washington, D.C. She said, quote, "I've been shocked to see how many journalists have been attacked, beaten and detained just for doing their jobs. It is crucial to democracy that journalists be allowed to do their job freely, and that is certainly something we should expect in the world's greatest democracy," unquote. But the reality, however, is that American democracy is in a total state of breakdown and collapse. On June the 1st, Donald Trump threatened to deploy heavily armed soldiers against protesters throughout the country in what was an attempt at a military coup against the elected state governments. What is life like now for masses of people throughout the US and throughout the world? Nearly half of Americans are unemployed, while corporations and the stock market have been handed multi-trillion-dollar bailouts. The negligence of the government has led to nearly 130,000 deaths in that country alone. And there are endless threats of war against China, Russia, Iran, and other countries. Every country, including New Zealand, is responding to this global crisis in the same way, by strengthening the police and intelligence agencies, strengthening the military, and censoring the internet and intimidating journalists. Jacinda Ardern's government is cementing its alliance with the United States. Even in the middle of a pandemic, they have found billions of dollars to buy new military ships and planes so that they can join the next US-led war. New Zealand soldiers were involved in the crimes in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they too stand exposed by WikiLeaks. They are determined to prevent any repeat of that. And that is why this government, including the Labour Party, the Green Party and New Zealand First, are all completely silent on Julian Assange. They refuse to denounce his treatment in the UK and the fact that the Australian government has completely abandoned their citizen. So the fight to free Assange is not a single issue campaign, it's the fight for press freedom, and that is intimately connected to all of the struggles that are unfolding throughout the world by working people and young people against war, against police brutality, and against social inequality. That is why this fight can and must continue to expand throughout the world. Thank you very much.